Thank you so much for joining the session. On time, it's wonderful. We've got a full afternoon, starting off with this fabulous session. The learner experience is very important to me, and ensuring that the world, I guess, you want to be big about it, if the world can build properly design, engaging, integrated learning experiences in digital environments is absolutely critical. We've done a pretty bad job globally, historically, at that. Willem and Joshua, could you give us just a little bit of background about yourself?
Absolutely. So thank you for having us, and thank you all for being interested in what we have to say today. My name is Joshua Richards. I'm Chief Product and Technology Officer at Boundless Learning, 20-year plus Pearson veteran. So started my career as a desktop support technician 25-ish years ago here in New York City. Worked my way through different ranks within the technology organization at Pearson, led to a lot of our implementations of global systems in the cloud, some of the first that we had, and then ultimately wound up with the Pearson Online Learning Services Group, which was our OPM division at Pearson at the time. I was brought in to help with the digital transformation. So they had been purchased by Pearson, sort of left uninvested in for a while, came in and built out a new Salesforce infrastructure, all that kind of fun stuff. Ultimately, that led to me getting more business focused. So I joined the executive team of Pearson Online Learning Services. And then we were told we were put up for sale. So we had quite a journey to get there. So as part of the management team, we had to pitch ourselves, explain to people who we were, why what we did was important, and ultimately got bought out by private equity. So last year, we started our journey to be a standalone organization, and here we are as Boundless Learning. But to the point you made earlier, we're 30 years in the industry. We came as an acquisition from Pearson. We're proud of our heritage and what we've done in the online program space, and we're excited to be here today.
Great. Thank you, Joshua. Willem.
My turn. Yeah, I'm Willem Boom. I just joined Boundless Learning July 1st, so I'm a bit new to the company and come with a pretty rich history and heritage of working in the learning space. I've been in e-learning really since about 2000, so a long time, dating myself nicely here. Really joined this amazing crew almost by design. I come from a rich history in the LMS space and selling other types of e-learning solutions over the years, and really recognized a disconnect in that we're selling a lot of software tools that, first of all, don't talk to each other very well. The integrations are typically quite horrific. And then the services attached to that, the ability to actually implement those programs and do so effectively, was typically very poorly executed. In my old world, we had a big challenge because we would go in and actually sell our LMS to different customers, whether in the association sector or corporate or education. And they would look at us and they had bought the system and they go, well, what now? What do we do now? How do we make this work? How do we make it effective? And I think Boundless, what we're trying to do is position ourselves to be able to answer that question. And that's what we're focused on.
We have been in the online program management space for a long period of time. We're really looking to redefine who we are while respecting our history, because we do think that what we've done online has been important and meaningful. We have hundreds of thousands of learners that we service, 30 years of history, like I mentioned. So for us, it was establishing who we are as a standalone organization. As mentioned, we got bought out by private equity. So the first part of our arc would really be standing up and getting fit as an organization, which was not an easy task. I know when our CEO was on stage last year, we had a big organizational structure shift. So we've been capitalizing on, the momentum that we had around changing ourselves as an organization. Then it was all about stability. So how do we make sure that what we're doing as an organization is going to last? We know there's a lot of challenges in online learning, especially as it relates to profitability, which is something we've been able to accomplish this year and we're very proud of, as well as the ability to really enhance the learner experience, which is why we're here talking today. And I think as an organization, our culture had to be rebuilt. We did a lot of change. We had a lot of people that were sort of trying to figure out what it meant to them to be part of Boundless Learning. So for us, it was a total culture rebuild. And really what we found, the connecting dot for everybody, was learner experience is what brought everyone together. It was that put the learner first and we'll be a successful organization. So at this point, like I mentioned, we're stable. We think that's really important in our industry as well. We're profitable. We're here for the long run. And more importantly, we want to start innovating and doing new things.
As a company, we're recognizing that we're in a very unique position. It's one of the reasons I joined the company, was really around the capabilities that we have around being an OPM, having successfully run master's programs, online programs, doing that very, very well for our partners, taking that skill set and applying it to different sectors. So we're looking at the association space, we're looking at corporates, extended enterprise play, et cetera. So we're really trying to work toward diversifying our verticals where we're going to focus and also disaggregating our OPM services and solutions, right? So we're really taking what at our core is a services company that also has software. We'll talk about our learning experience suite and those types of capabilities, taking that and matching it with an incredible set of folks in our company. We have a depth of talent that I, especially over the last 2 months, have had to experience. They're just such great people at this company, the Pearson Heritage, et cetera, and there's a bunch of them sitting around in the edge here looking at me right now. So we definitely have, I think, a really good core to work with and to build really great solutions, both software and service side, which is why I was mentioning earlier that whole connection with software and then the proper implementation of software. I think that's a really great opportunity for us, and really bringing learning to the learner, making that access much improved, making it easier is a really critical mission that we're on.
Sassoon, which is a well-known brand, haircutting studios, they had an online platform that wasn't really serving their needs. They had content that was everywhere. They had one subscription model, which was like $99 and you get everything. Meanwhile, if you actually went in person to the studio, it would be an $18,000 certification. So we've been working with them to actually say, what's the unique need you have? It's not just about bringing your programs online in a holistic way. It's about changing the business model. So for us, we've actually developed a new model for them, which is sort of a freemium model to get started. Then there's certifications that people will pay for and actually have a learning path to show like, hey, if you piece these 3 things together, you can get the fundamentals of hairdressing done online and then continue that in person. So they're a perfect example of a company that wanted to educate consumers, had traditionally done it brick and mortar. They had an online problem and we came in and solved it. And we've got some great people in the room here who've been working closely with them, but they're a direct result of being able to say, hey, we've got this legacy in online education. It's important to us. It's not just in higher ed. Even though higher ed is still very important to us, we can take the lessons we've learned, the history we have, and build that out for corporations.
What we're trying to do here is actually solve an issue that if you look at corporate or even associations or even higher ed, a lot of times they have multiple LMS systems. They have systems that aren't integrated very well with one another. And there's a way to unify that under our learning experience solution or suite that we're calling that. So we're really working to become kind of that glue between all those systems and do a better job of integrations and bringing a whole solution so that when the learner has their experience, which is really the topic we're talking about here, they have an easy time accessing learning, being able to pay for it, for example, getting the proper recommendations of their path, the proper learning path, etc. Right? So really trying to go down that pathway. A lot of times LMSs, and I can speak to this with a little credibility, don't do a great job in those areas. That's a big challenge. So it's a very tough space to be in. We are going to partner with LMSs, and we already are. Obviously a certain set, but really our mission is to remain somewhat agnostic.
We had the luxury, if you will, of being able to build out our entire infrastructure from scratch. So in the last year, it's all built on modern technology, Salesforce, MuleSoft, some of the big names out there.
Right.
What that's allowed us to do is take a look not just at the technology, but the processes that runs on those systems.
Yeah.
So we have a learner experience team. We have Laura here with us today, dedicated to the actual learner experience. And what they've done is they've gone across and they've taken the whole learner lifecycle and all the digital touch points that we have, the personal touch points that we have along the way, and map those out. And what we started to do was then say, maybe we should inject something here, or maybe the data is telling us that over here the learner needs another nudge.
Sure.
So it's really been about putting out the technology, mapping the process. There's a lot of change that goes into it as well. You're changing the way that people interact with the technology, interact with our teams, but it's a holistic view of start to finish, how you interact with us, the learner experience in terms of the design of the courses we build. We have an analytics wrapper around that as well, and unifying that and actually using the data, which is hard, to make the right decisions.
Yeah. What about the content? Do your clients, or either universities or industry bodies or corporates, do they provide the content and then you reshape it? Or
yeah, it's a mix of both. What we usually find is that people come to us with content that's already been created. In a lot of cases, it's older and or not really built around sort of the learner and the experience.
Right.
So what we've done, for instance, in the case of Sassoon, again, is they had all this content shot 5-10 years ago. We're now helping them reimagine what they already have, not having to rebuild from scratch, but also that's our strength, right? We do learning design, so we're passionate about that. And learning design, once again, isn't just higher education, it's for everybody. So we're able to take that experience that we have and actually do something meaningful in other areas. and leave the imprint on a learner just like we would in a college course.
The Sassoon example is really an example of what I call extended enterprise, a term that you guys may have heard. So it's not a corporate doing their own development of their own workforce. It's a corporate providing training to their channel, to their distributors, to their customers. That environment, and often the folks who are doing that kind of education for that company are typically often in the marketing department, funny enough. And so that's a very different group than your typical chief learning officer, VP of training, that kind of side. So you're really doing also a lot of marketing, which interestingly enough, an OPM is well positioned to do, right? So there's a lot of things that from our background that we can reapply pretty quickly.
We really intend to be something different, and I think what the next year is going to show us is that we have what it takes to do that. I think the Sassoon example is something that lit a fire under the organization, from the frontline employees to who we are and the product teams and everything else. So that example is firing us up to say, hey, we've got credibility in this space. These skills that we have, it's not just higher ed, it's not just OPM. So I think we're putting the flag in the ground, we're introducing who we are. We've got some clients. We've got a lovely salesperson here who's going to get out there and sell it. So I'm hoping that we're here in a year from now saying we're even more successful. And like I said, one of the big things for us was we hit profitability this year. And that's something that in our industry has been really hard. Yeah.
All right. Look, thank you so much. Please join me in thanking Josh and Willem. Fantastic.